Hello, I'm going to do a demonstration on how to sew the medical masks with elastic ear loops. Take your mask, fold it in half. Stitch a 1/4 inch seam. Turn your mask right side out. And fold your seam and finger press. Also finger press the fold at the top. You'll notice that my notches line up perfectly when I do that. These are going to be the notches that we're talking about. Notch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Fold notch 1 down to meet notch number 3. Pin, and I pin a little bit away from my seam line, my 1/4 inch seam line, so that I'm not going to run over my pins with my sewing machine. Take notch 4, fold down to meet notch 6. Take your piece of elastic and you'll want to mark it at you'll want to find your 1 inch line, how far 1 inch is. Stick your elastic in to the middle of your mask. 1 inch from the edge of your elastic at the very top of your mask at a diagonal. Put your presser foot down. You'll stitch over the elastic a couple stitches, back stitch, and then stitch again over your elastic, a 1/4 inch. Down your pleats. Finger your elastic so you make sure that it's straight and it doesn't get twisted. You will want to make sure that your stitch length is at 2.0, a shorter stitch length, so that when you back stitch over this elastic, it's going to tack that elastic down very well. Once again, stick it in 1 inch into your mask, down at the bottom of your mask. Stitch, go back over, completely over that elastic, and then down again. Then you're going to do the same thing for the other side. Take a piece of elastic, stick it in 1 inch from the edge of your elastic, back stitch over your elastic, stitch over your elastic again, over your pleats, finger your elastic so that it's straight, stick it in the middle, at an angle 1 inch, back stitch, and then stitch again. It's just that easy. This is a very easy method of doing masks. I'm going to show you something a little bit different that might be a method that you like as well. It's going to involve some chain piecing and might make it a little bit faster for those of you that are comfortable with it. First of all, you're going to stitch your 1/4 inch seam at the bottom of your mask. Then you're going to chain piece, and all chain piecing means is that you're just going to continue piecing. You're going to stitch this under. You'll have a couple of stitches in between, and then stitch again. Then you would cut your threads and cut your masks apart. I'm going to set those aside because I have some that are already turned right side out. Make sure that you have these pressed, finger pressed well. Then you can take and put your mask under, whoops, better put the elastic in first. Put your elastic in at the top of your mask. Catch it right in that notch and then stitch at your 1/4 inch seam. Stitch over the elastic all the way, back stitch and come back again. Then you're going to take your number 1 notch, fold it down to meet your number 3 notch, stitch a 1/4 inch, take your number 4 notch and bring it down to meet your number 6 notch. Stitch that. Make sure your elastic is straight. Stick it in at an angle, 1 inch. You're going to go over your elastic, back stitch all the way over your elastic and come down again. Take your next mask, stick your elastic in between, stitch, back stitch, fold number 3 notch down to number 1 notch down to number 3 notch, number 4 notch down to number 6 notch, grab your elastic, make sure it's straight and not twisted. Come to your elastic and then make sure you back stitch all the way. And then you're done with that side. Turn your masks and you're going to start on the other end, the other side, I should say. Okay, stick your elastic in at an angle. Make sure you stitch over your elastic, back stitch, come back down again. Your pleats this time will be the opposite because you're doing the back side actually of these pleats, or the other side of the pleats. So you'll want to make sure that you lay your pleats across and they're nice and even. Your notches line up here. This side is actually easier to do your pleats because you already have them halfway done. You just have to line them up and make sure that they're flat. Take your elastic. Make sure you come over, back stitch all the way over your elastic and come again. Take your elastic. Make sure this is at the end of my mask. Back stitch over, come back down again. Fold my pleats. So they're nice and flat and even. Fold this pleat down. Nice and flat. Take my elastic. Put it in between the layers. Back stitch and come all the way over. Then all you have to do is cut your masks apart and they're all done. You might find that you will have some non-sewers at your house that would be willing to pin your pleats for you. You might like that method as well. Do whatever method works for you.